Okay, so we'll go ahead and then start today's session. Um,
Let's begin.
okay, great. Um, I I have some people telling me they will join in a bit. Okay, that's fine. That's well noted, Rosa. Okay. Um. Hi everyone. Okay. So today we have Jasmine Chabria. Did I get it right?
Yeah. Yes. You
Okay.
got it absolutely right.
Yay.
Thank you
Okay.
for having me. A lot of
Yes.
people here in India don't get my surname right, but you got it right. So,
Okay, so since the inception of this whole webinar, I don't normally show my face, but today you insisted that you wanted to see my face on the webinar. That is how come today I'm
I
here
broke the ice.
present.
I
Yes.
requested you, but thank you so much for being kind. I just feel I feel I'm speaking to a human.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's just like a blank screen. So
Mm.
I get
Okay.
very excited when I see someone, and
Oh, okay. Then I think that's the
So
new
thank
thing I
you
have
so much
learned.
for.
Okay. So we are just going right into it. So our first question would just like to know a bit about you. Maybe a brief intro of yourself, what you do, and then we'll go right into why we are here.
Okay, so basically, I am from India and I am a speaker and a trainer. And the areas I specialize in is team building. And today we're going to talk a lot about team building, teamwork. But I use an art form called improv comedy. So I do team building through improv comedy for like a lot of corporates. And the other area that really makes me excited is personal growth and motivation. So I work with different companies and we conduct these programs, retreats, workshops where we help them bettering team bonds or bettering certain areas of growth. So yeah, that is in a very short thing about me. Yes.
Okay, that's great. Yes, so I know you've had a track record of um, helping people build teams and building solid teams. And so we want to understand what makes you so passionate about team building as a niche. Why team building and why solely that? Like looks like that's one of your main focus. So why that?
So it's actually two reasons that got me
Okay.
into this. The first was, I just realized that no matter who you are, the moment you come on planet Earth, okay, you can come with a silver spoon or not, whoever you are, you have to deal with three things in life. One is the weather, one is your own mind, and one is people. You cannot take out people out of any equation from the time you wake up. Even if you live by yourself, the moment you enter a lift, you might meet somebody. You
Yeah.
might get in an Uber, you have to converse with your Uber driver. Even if you're shopping online, sometimes you have to talk to the customer care. And of course, when you work, for a lot of people, maybe 40% of their time or maybe 90% of their time is with people in a particular work setup. And I was like, yeah, you cannot get away from this equation of dealing with people. And that's what's made me like so excited, because if we can deal with people better, don't you think our life will be much more calmer, much more enjoyable, much more exciting? That was the one. But and the second reason was, for 6 years I ran an ad film production house. It was me and two other founders, and we would make these different ad films for different companies, say McDonald's or say some pharmaceutical company. And you need a crew, right? It's like a film crew. So we had crew sizes between 80 to 100 people for every project. And of course, it's the script and the production, but every time I was like, hey, it's all about bringing these 80 or 100 people together. How are they going to work together? I mean, and sometimes it was great, like they had great communication and everybody loved the vision, but sometimes it was really messy, okay? Like a really bad rapport. It was just messed up. And I was like, yeah, team building is not like when you put people together on a set or in an office. It's not like they're going to instantly make the best of bonds. You
Yeah.
have to put in, continuous effort. And I was like, yeah, it's like a skill we need to develop. So I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I've worked with so many crews, and through all the good and the messy examples, I was like, yeah, like, there is a whole technique to bring in teamwork in the workplace. So that's how I was like, okay, now let me help companies do that. So,
Okay.
so these were two things that got me into this as a niche.
Okay. So which means that you started based on experience that you have had, and you felt like, okay, there's a gap here, so you want to create some awareness on that.
Yeah. It needs a lot of time, energy, and heart
Mm,
to
mm,
build. It's like, when you're in school, we don't become friends instantly with our classmates.
yes.
And out of all the classmates, we might have one or two best friends. So it
Yes.
needs time, energy, a little heart to create that, team bond. It's like a skill. It's like any other skill, I feel.
Okay. So what's you know some people are comfortable working on their own, like me. Um, most of the projects I have done, be it work, be it school, because in my school, that's Gimpa. Um, our final year project work was like a 1 month thing. You're on your own, okay. And so coming into the workspace, most of the projects I've also worked on, I have worked on them alone. Um, quite remember earlier this year, I was asked to work with a few people on a project, and honestly, the whole human interaction, dealing with people, um, was it's still a struggle for me, but I don't know. At some point, I'm getting a hang of it, but dealing with people is quite difficult. So now my question is, if dealing with people is quite difficult, then why then do we need teamwork for achieving organizational goals and personal growth? Like, why is that important? Because if I can get to do the work on my own, why do I need someone else, or why do I need to build skills to get a team, or to be in a team to get it done?
So, I feel whenever there is, so even if you're working with many people or you're, like a one person business, you'll always have a transaction with someone on the other side. Like it's called client, right? And it's a team is not just like if you have 20, 30 people, it's also between just two people. And what I actually noticed, because when I started working, I was a copywriter. And
Mm-hmm.
initially, I started freelancing. So it was just me. And
Okay.
then I was like, the first time I got my first client, we became two people. And what I realized is going from working individually to one person or two people or like massive numbers of people, I think a lot of communication problems happen if, like you said, right, why do we need the skill? Because a lot of teamwork is about communication. I've seen a lot of conflicts happen because the communication was not right. It was just as simple as that. And um, it's like as simple as being clear. Okay. So I take a lot of principles from advertising for this. Like, in advertising, it's said you have to know your audience. You have to like know everything, the way they talk, what are their interests and what are their dislikes. And it's the same with your team. Now, team is also one person opposite you, two people or 20 or 200 people. So a lot of times we don't know our teammates that well, so we don't communicate in the right way. So I'll just give you an example. Like there's a lot of Gen Z coming into the workforce, at least in India, right?
Yeah.
They're like almost are they teenagers or they've completed their teen? They're just young people getting in the workforce, and they prefer using like something like short forms. They
Yeah.
a lot of them enjoy humor at the workplace. Okay, and this is
Yeah.
just like knowing your teammate. Okay, so if I am leadership or if there's like a really senior leader but his team is full of people who are Gen Z, or even one person or 10 people in his team, if you know the people, you can speak, you can like match the level and communicate that, or it's the other way around. Maybe the Gen Z will have to pick up some things of the senior person. So just knowing your audience, that's a big part of communication. um just being clear, it when we work ourselves, everything is like it's the way I do it, my deadlines. But the moment you have just one more person in the equation, you have to share that with the other person. So be it timelines, deliverables, like make it as clear as drinking water. Like be so clear. What do you want that person to do? Just make it as clear as drinking water. So yeah, like a lot of communication conflicts happen the moment there's just one more person in the equation, because that's the team. Like if I have you and me, we're a team. That's it. I just need one more person to form a team. And you
Okay.
always have a client, even if you're working individually, you always have a client.
Can you come again with the question?
Well, your screen just froze for a millisecond.
Oh, really? I think the network is quite bad today.
No, it's fine now. It's fine
Okay.
now. Just for
Okay.
a millisecond it froze, so I didn't get what you said.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have had a lot of collaboration. Um. I mean, what is your take on collaboration amongst employees in a company or in a group? What does collaboration mean? And then what are the steps to creating a collaborative and cohesive team culture?
Okay, according to me, like collaboration just sounds like such a big word, but I
Mm,
feel the meaning is just a readiness to go from me to we. That's it. It's just a
mm,
readiness when I'm ready to be like, okay, now it's not just about me, it's about we. That's what I think is collaboration. It's a simple readiness, certain ways in which we can probably, build collaboration within a team. So I always ask people like, can you define what, in a tangible manner, what is collaboration? Okay, like so tangible means something that you can see or measure. So if you see them say complete, some people are like, if you complete a project successfully, like in a smooth fashion, that means everybody collaborated well. Or some people are like, they observe, how does behavior at lunchtime look like?
yeah,
Huh? Like, are you like not wanting to share or whatever? Or
yeah,
some people are, they observe their employees during a retreat. There's an offsite, there's a retreat, everyone's gone to a resort, and then
yeah,
the management level behavior. So first, I always tell like leadership management, or if you are in a leadership position, observe, define what will collaboration be in a very tangible fashion. Like you can see it, you can measure it. Maybe one of these, maybe all three. And then when you see people displaying that behavior, it's the basics of human psychology. Reward it. If you want people to display certain behavior, you reinforce it, reward it. So if you feel, wow, yeah, they collaborated well, like they did really well on a project, like no conflicts, smooth, the project was completed. Yeah, this is collaboration for me. I want my team to display this behavior, reward it, either through, I don't know, just either through gifts, either, I'm not saying anything expensive, be it a book or be it, passes for a bowling alley where they can also bring their family along. Reward what you see as collaboration. If you feel no, collaboration to me is when everybody sits and eats lunch together at lunchtime. Great, that's your way of measuring, and try to reward that. And the second thing say is always call out selfish behavior, because collaboration is a lot about being unselfish. Okay, so I'll share this really powerful scene, okay, which was shown in a Bollywood movie. Okay, it's like a really good scene which talks about how you call out selfish behavior. So the scene is about, there's the hockey team, the Indian women hockey team, okay, and they're playing a very important hockey match. They're almost in the semi-final. Now it's just logic. The person who's closest to the goal shoots, right? And that's how you make a goal. But in this case, there was one girl who was a little further away from the goal. She had to pass the ball to her teammate who was closest to the goal, so they make the goal. But she thought, if I hit the goal, I will come in all the headlines, because it's such an important match. So she went into the me zone. She
Yeah.
hits and she makes the goal, and Team India wins this hockey match. Everybody's cheering, but the coach is super upset. The coach is like, y'all won out of fluke. You did not collaborate. Your thing was, you had to pass the ball to your teammate. So he called out this selfish behavior, because if you want to win consistently as a team, you have to go from me to we. Maybe you win once, maybe you win twice, but that's a fluke. That's not collaborative. So the coach was like really upset, although his team won the semifinals. So even in your team, whenever you see selfish behavior being displayed in any setup, you can be in a sports team, in a finance team, in a restaurant, call out selfish behavior. And the last thing I say is encourage a sense of community. I read this survey which said 54% of people stay in their job because they have a really good sense of community. So encourage people to make communities. It can be over food, over books, over travel. Like if you are in a leadership or management position, let people form a sense of community, because everybody wants to feel at home. Everybody wants to feel that, hey, I and Pearl, we have a good match. So allow them to create a community where it can be anything. Maybe it's about books. So after work or in between work, sometimes we can discuss something about books, maybe five of us or six of us. So try to encourage a sense of community, because that also helps, uh, building collaboration, which is just a readiness to go from me to we. So these
Okay.
are few ways one can, build collaboration in a team.
Okay. I have a personal question here. See, there are times where you're trying your best to collaborate with the team. I mean, you're trying to be nice, even though people are not like being cooperative and all that. And then finally, you try to make everybody collaborate. You make everybody feel important as usual. But then there's this one person in the team that is trying to be difficult, trying to um how do I say it? Trying to
Like the
push you
black
back.
sheep of the team.
Exactly. How
Pearl, Call your screen froze. There's some network fluctuation.
How do you deal with such a person? Okay, can you hear me?
I got your
When you
question.
say
Yeah,
without
yeah,
the
yeah.
video, hello.
Yeah, I got your question.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Now it's fine. It was just welcoming, nice, helpful, but I feel like whenever there's a really difficult person who's not cooperating, there has to be a root cause to it. Okay, so I personally follow, like, I love this model. Okay, there's a model. It's just called cultivate. It's given by a man called Bruce Tuckman. Basically, there are five stages, okay? And something is unresolved in one of these five stages. And that's why this person is being so difficult, okay? So we need to sit and like evaluate. So I'll just take you through the five stages, okay? The number one stage is forming, okay? So anytime you come into a new team, you go through something called forming, which is your mind is asking a question that what am I doing here and who are all these people? Like, do our wavelengths match? Okay. And that's the number one question whenever we come in any team we have. Like, why am I here? What am I doing here? Who are all these people? What's the match between all of us? And if that question is not answered, in some way or the other, this person will always have maybe an element of disinterest or distrust with the other people. So the leadership always has to, like, even if you've been like 1 year in a company, but there has to be a round of deeper introductions or deeper conversations. So everybody gets to know each other, not just like at a surface level, but a very deep level. Because a lot of times, if that question is not answered, that person can go on to become a difficult person because he's not found, or at least he doesn't know that this is a fit or no. Okay. Second, people go through something called storming. Okay, it's like it's sometimes like a marriage. So you have a dating phase where everything is awesome, and then you get married, and then like a lot of daily banter comes up. Okay,
Mm,
so once you're in a team, a lot of daily banter can come up. It's a stage called storming because as humans, we all have different perspectives, different approaches to do the same thing, right? And I'm like, no,
yeah.
my approach works, and why should I listen? So the leadership always has to fix on one approach that, hey, all of us are going to go by this route. Let's agree on this because otherwise every day we are humans, we're going to have different perspectives on everything, and again there's going to be a lot of conflict. So a lot of difficult people, they themselves are not clear that okay, this is something, the approach, and maybe the leadership has not made it clear to them. Maybe it's not their fault, but leadership needs to be like, okay, for the next 6 months we're doing this project and we are going to follow this approach. So everyone just has to come on the same page. Then sometimes, then a person goes through something. So once, a person goes through something after norming, it's storming, and then it's forming and performing. So now people are performing, everything is smooth, but um, if your leadership has not asked you, okay, what can be different? How can we improve this? People start losing interest very fast and then they become difficult. So it's also
Mm,
important to ask that person that okay, what can be different in this? We're doing great, things are moving, but what do you think? What can at least take their suggestion? Everyone likes to be heard. Ask them their opinion because that person, if you don't ask people that, they'll be like, okay, are we working in a factory? No one's like, we just have
mm.
to go by these blind folds, and then people start becoming difficult. Um, Sometimes it can be the person has lost motivation. So, great person, talented person, performing super well, but just lost motivation. And that's where companies do these team building workshops, to just oomph up the motivation levels. Sometimes it just gets really like stagnant. So I feel a person becomes difficult because at some stage out of these five stages, something has not been addressed. Either the forming stage or storming, norming, performing stage, something has not been addressed, and that's why it's all coming out in like difficulty.
Okay, but okay, I think
But
well
if you
that
want to one
okay
on
that
one,
that
like
actually
yeah,
makes very much sense to me now because at some point I tried to find answers to questions that I had about that person. And at some point, I realized that it wasn't even a me problem, but it was a them problem. It wasn't me. It was just them and their own insecurities and their own challenges that
yeah.
they were bringing it into the project. But right now, my main question is now that I have spotted these things, I've been able to spot. I mean, you've given us some clues or some things to look out for. So now that we've been able to spot these things, or now you've been able to spot the problem with the person, what are some of the things you can do to resolve um, someone who is not being collaborative? So you've maybe it's a motivation problem. What then do you do? I mean, what are some of the best approaches that we can go through to be able to resolve such issues?
So I say that one way is get a third person in. Okay, so create something called a safe flicks, not Netflix, safe
Mm,
flicks. Okay, and
mm,
get a neutral mediator. Okay,
okay.
you will need to have a direct conversation with this person, but in the presence of someone who is that neutral
Mm,
mediator. Okay,
okay.
who's not biased. Have an open conversation
Mm,
and make it like hey, I would like to get into the safe flex zone with you. Like don't make it like, oh, we're going to have this a wrestling match or anything. It's
yeah.
just we're getting in a zone called safe flicks. We're just going to have a very safe open conversation in the presence of someone, a neutral mediator. So can a third person come in and you'll just have a, a conversation. Second is freeze on the approach. A lot of times you might have one approach, but this person in their head is, thinking just something totally different. Maybe it's about how to do a project or how should you submit the documents. Anything small or anything major. How should you speak to a client? How should you schedule a meeting? It can be anything, right? But clarify a set approach
Okay.
that Pearl, are you okay if we freeze on this approach? This is how it's going to be every morning. This is how it's going to be every afternoon. We will share this. We will do this. Like come to the T and freeze on a set approach because a lot of times that person in his or her mind has a totally different perspective, different approach to so one is get in a safe flick zone. Second is freeze on one set approach that people should. And third is uh, when we are sharing our opinions with them, it should
Mm-hmm.
come across as if we are sharing and not imposing.
Okay.
Because when we talk, it's like the other way, right? If someone imposes their opinions on us, of course, we wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
So use the most I would say even if you're angry, use the calmest of words. That's a skill to do, the
Okay.
sweetest of words you can, and say this is my thought or opinion on this, but you let me know what are your thoughts. Do you think it can be made better? Do you think it will help the team in some other way? Right? So put across your opinion, but put it in a very nice, kind way instead of imposing.
Hmm. Okay, but
And you can do this in that safe like zone that you're in, right? Like when you
mm,
start having an open conversation, try to use the kindest of words.
okay, but what if in a scenario where um now you need to be very firm on something, you need to, I mean, the person is doing something that you feel like um you, like you get to a point where you know that no, you need to be firm with this person because you are tired of playing nice and the person is taking you for granted. Do you still go by the nice approach, or you go by the firm approach?
No, just keep your words kind. You can be very firm when you're talking. You can say, hey, you know what, this is not appropriate. Uh,
Mm,
we tried this thing that you said, we've been trying this for long. Even you, even I want the best for this project.
mm,
But I'll be honest, this is not appropriate. So what I mean is keep the words like don't um don't do any personal comments on somebody, You don't know what they're going through. Or
yeah.
don't make it about the team more than like a personal criticism.
Okay.
So tell them this thing that you're doing is not helping the team, is not helping the project, is not helping the client. Don't say that what you're doing, you are useless or you're not
Mm,
efficient.
yeah.
Don't, that's what I meant. Like use kind words. And second is make it about the project. We both want the best for the project. So
Okay.
be firm, but without any
Mm,
personal criticism, you know?
all right. Okay, that's well noted. Okay, so our next point is communication. Um, we I think we started with that with I mean being saying nice words, but um, be be objective with what you are saying. It should be about the project and not about the person, or not in personal interest. Um, I mean, with this being said, what are some other common communication breakdowns in teams? And then how can we resolve these breakdowns? And then how does technology impact communication in teams as well? Now that we have people working remotely, we have social media, we have emails. I mean, you
Yeah,
might not be able to see the person reaction, or the person's demeanor when the person is sending the message. So sometimes you can misunderstand the tone of the
of course.
message, or misunderstand um, how the person is communicating, maybe some timeline or some information in the group. I think these are some of the breakdowns, and how are we able to resolve these things, especially when technology is involved.
Yeah. So one is also a lot about because now you have so many apps we all collaborate on for work, and I feel that takes care of the work bit in teamwork, but not the team bit. As you
Mm,
said, right? Like the work, the project, it might take care of it somehow. But
mm,
at the end of the day, we're humans who have emotions. We need to express, and sometimes some people don't want to express it. And I don't think like technology can fill in that feeling,
mm,
right?
mm,
So a lot also comes to the etiquette. Like because we have so many apps, like in India, there's a lot of WhatsApp. A lot of people work through WhatsApp.
mm,
There has to be certain etiquette. So something as simple as if you would send me something like, okay, I need this by Sunday or I need this by Monday. There's etiquette. I will have to write a complete sentence showing agreement or disagreement. Like I can't just put an emoji because you will wonder like is that a yes, is that a no, right? So one, And again, with using so many short forms, people use a lot of emojis, and that
Mm,
doesn't replicate. That's not how we really talk in the
mm,
real world. We're not like just like this or hmm. We say complete sentences, right? So there's a lot of etiquette that we might have to write something like if you're on Trello or Asana and there is a feedback, you'll have to write like literally every point very much in detail. So be clear. Clarity is one major thing in communication. The moment you're not clear or you respond with a few emojis, it's going to cause confusion and then there's going to be a block. So one is
okay.
be super super clear, like break it down to the T. Like this is the
Okay.
project, this is what we're going to do, these are the timelines, this is what works, this is what doesn't work, uh, whatever, like to the T. Even if you think it's irrelevant, no, for the other person it might be useful information. So be super clear because that's the biggest thing in communication. And second is a lot of time we reply. So to give the smartest reply, and it's not actually to listen. So even if it's just a phone call where we're not seeing each other, or if we're say on a video meet and cameras are turned off, we're not able to see a lot of expressions and all. So a lot of times we reply to give the smartest reply, whereas we should be replying for the sake of replying, not so that it's smart, which means we have to listen carefully to the person. Like sometimes in the voice, you can sense hesitation, right? Unsurety. Like if someone is, if you're like, okay, hey, okay, do you think we can submit this by Friday? And in the voice, they're like, um, yeah, but there's a little hesitation. Okay, so just listen carefully and then reply. So
Okay.
you'll have a better reply. Like you'll be like, okay, so you think you're not able to complete it, or what is it? I sense some
Okay.
hesitation,
Okay.
right? So don't just reply for the sake because, oh, I have to reply. First, listen really, really carefully and then give your reply. Like a lot of, hostage negotiators, their job is basically to save hostages. Um, they emphasize on the skill of listening in the workplace a lot because literally, like, what they do is a life and death situation, right? There's like a really good story. I would love to share it. It really helps us see the power of listening to your teammate or to somebody. um, there was a story where there was somewhere in outskirts of Europe. Okay, there was this isolated home, and one fine night, there was a grandmom and a granddaughter in that house. Okay, and then one man just shows up in the middle of the night inside their hall, and he's holding like an axe. Okay, but he's shivering. And the grandmother is, of course, like really scared, but she's listening to him, his body language in that case, and he was shivering. And she only replied that you seem to be feeling really cold. Can I make you some hot tea? And can I get you a blanket? And he said yes. Okay. And he said, now go back to your room. Okay, you've given me tea. Thank you. Go back to your room. And the next morning, the cops turn up and they're like, there's a serial killer on the loose. Are you guys okay? Because he just murdered a family next door. Are you guys fine? And they were fine. Nothing happened to them. And this is a true story from a hostage negotiator, which says if we just listen to cues in people, either in their words, in their body language, you'll have a better reply.
Yeah.
So with all the tech coming in, um, we are a lot of times losing the skill to listen well, and that's something we should focus on.
Okay. Coming to leadership and teamwork. I mean, I think most women get this a lot, um, especially maybe when you are leading a team, and then you are trying to build trust. You are trying to get people to get the work done. You want to get results, and then at some point when people are trying to be difficult, then you are trying to set in some control measures and all that. Now, some people say you might come off as bossy, or you might come off as controlling. Um, how do leaders then navigate through comments like this to build trust with their team members? What are some of the things you advise, especially for women? I don't think we have a lot of women here, but I think men are able to navigate through that easily, because I mean, in the corporate space is mainly for men. They are able to understand each other, but then when a woman comes in, I mean, there are some men that cannot work with women, and so if situations come like that, I mean, they say you are being bossy, or you are being controlling, or how do we navigate with issues like that?
Okay, so I'll break this into two parts, okay? Um, so I'm a woman, you're a woman. So let me just
Mm-hmm.
break this into two parts, okay?
Okay.
Uh, if as a lady we come across someone who is maybe being too bossy on us or maybe not respectful, how can we deal with that? Okay. Um, and then I'll come to the leadership on their on controlling or versus not controlling, right? So I feel this is like for every woman out there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
firstly, there's something called internal locus of control and external locus of control.
Okay.
We can control how we behave, what we say. We might not be able to control someone else's words. Okay, that's the truth. So what do we do, right? One is, I would say, like, really assert your presence. It's like if you are a small rose in a huge forest, okay, and they're like huge bamboo trees. But if you're a confident rose, people will still bend down and look at you,
Yeah.
right? So be that confident rose, like assert your presence.
Okay.
Um, if you're coming across someone who's trying to be bossy, okay?
Yeah.
So a man who's trying to be bossy, okay? So now maybe he is doing it unconsciously, or maybe he's doing it
Okay.
intentionally. I say unconsciously because for years and years there was this inequality. Things are getting better, but because for years and years there was a very evident inequality. For some men, though they respect the other gender, it might be an unconscious bias. Okay,
Okay.
so they might come across that way because of an unconscious bias, or maybe it's intentional. Maybe
Okay.
they're like, no, you know what? We are the boss man. Okay. So, whatever the case be, you hold your presence, your confident presence, like right from your body language, the way your posture is. And if you have an idea, tell that person that, it will be great if you don't interrupt me because I have an amazing idea to share with everybody. Okay. So you have to sometimes voice it, tell them not to
Hmm.
interrupt you. You have an amazing idea to share. Or sometimes they might be too controlling. You can always tell them that, just joke and ask them that, don't you trust me? I
Hmm.
am very confident, but don't you trust
Hmm.
me? Put it back on them. Voice it in a very dignified manner. Sometimes You might also find men who are very supportive of you, of your
Yeah.
ideas, or
Yeah.
they might
Yeah.
really want to help you. Like I've come across male colleagues who were
Yeah.
really, really supportive,
Yeah.
and they can become your, I don't know, you call it ally or whatever. So sometimes when you are sharing your idea, they can just back you up on it because they truly believe in you. They truly
Yeah.
respect you. They see,
Yeah.
make them your try to make them your friends, and by friends I mean genuinely friends, not just for the sake
Mm.
of work getting done. So these are few ways you can, just have assert your presence, your body language, your speech, okay? Because this is in your control. This is in your control. It's in
Yeah.
your control to say, I have an idea and I will not like to be interrupted. It's a great idea. Why don't you just listen to it? That is in our
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
Rest is not much in our control, but there are ways we can, navigate it. The second thing I will come to, you said leadership, and should they be controlling or not? Was that the question?
So I was asking, how do we then build the trust? Which
Hmm.
you have given some insights on how we can build the trust and
Yes.
not come off as, um, if they think we are trying to be controlling. There are certain ways that we can go around it. I mean, try to say things in a joking way, um, um, being firm, but being saying that in a nice way. I mean, I think these are some of the tools that can help. I think time is fast, and um, I think let me just go into the last
I'll just give
question.
you one quick tip. If you're
Okay.
a leader, I know you're doing your best for your team. One quick tip to build trust is it's called a speak extracurriculars method. Okay, speak. So a
Mhm.
lot of time people are like, oh, it's work. We will only talk about work, but
Mhm.
try to talk about interests. Okay, so say I come
Mhm.
to know Pearl enjoys football and she's a fan of the Liverpool team. Okay, now, maybe
Mhm.
after 6 months, Liverpool is playing a match and they win. And the next day, I come and give you a jersey of Liverpool with your name on it. And I'm like, Pearl, congrats, man, your team won. And you're like, whoa, how did this person remember? Like, you'll feel so special. So one way
Yeah.
to build trust is make the other person feel special by speaking about extracurriculars. You get cues from them. What do they like, and then when the time is right, push out that cue.
Okay. Um. Okay. So it's getting quite it's getting quite noisy. Because I think it's time for the Muslims to pray. I don't know if you can hear me.
Slightly, yes. They're signaling to us that your time is
Okay. Is it better now?
1 hour has gone by.
Is it better now?
I can hear you. Yes, yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, Pearl, I'm able to hear you.
Okay. Great. Um.
Pearl, you're on mute, I think. Is it?
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Yes. So, one last question, and then we open the floor for our audience to ask questions. Um, what are some of the practical team building activities and exercises um we as team members and leaders can exercise to yield the results that we want um in the team? What are some of the things that we can do? Some of the exercises? How do we
Yeah.
engage our team members so that we can yield the excellent results that we want? So I think that's my last question, and then we take questions from the audience.
So one super simple way is it's called mindful reminders, okay?
Mm.
Sit down with your team for 15 minutes and
Okay.
block out the next 3 months. Pick out random dates, each one of you, and put in small notes like mindful reminders. Like, okay,
Mm.
in Jan 5th, pick random dates. I will message Arnold asking about his dog, okay?
Okay.
Or after, or Feb 13th, I will walk up to Moses' desk or call Moses if we're working remotely and have a 5 minute discussion with him. Okay. Now, what's the
Mm.
purpose of this? And follow it. What's the purpose of this? When we are working on something, when we're doing projects, our head is into that.
Mm.
Okay. We forget that there are other people with emotions, right? So what
Yeah.
this does is mindful reminders. You literally get a small notification. You can get it anytime. It will take you 2, 3 minutes, right? It will take you 2 minutes to just message Arnold asking, "Hey, what's up? I just thought of asking about your dog. How's it?" Okay. But these
Yeah.
little things do matter. It's like a relationship, right?
Yeah.
You need to communicate. You need to communicate a little at the deeper level, not just about work, because that forms a sense of bond, a sense of community. And the second thing, I use a lot of improv comedy. Basically, I do these workshops. Improv comedy is an art form. If you watched any show, um, it's a really fun art form which has come from theater. So we all get together as a team, and it has two purposes. One is you lighten up. Okay, so any exercise that you do, you will be laughing. That's for sure. Okay, you're all laughing together, but you also level up. Each exercise targets at some skill that you can develop. So maybe it's a skill of listening, maybe it's a skill of handling conflicts better, maybe it's a skill of using kind of words, maybe it's a skill of building trust, you know.
Mm.
So it's like you play these exercises, you literally play
Yeah.
them as a group, you laugh, and in the process you pick up all these skills that you need to have uh, to be a part of team, and the team can be 2 people or 20 people or 100 people.
Hmm. That's that
And
has
you can
been
also do it online. It's not like you have to meet in
mm,
person. There are
mm,
like some 100 exercises, and you can pick out a few exercises and together play them.
mm. Okay. I think that has been quite a lot. I don't know if our audience has um
I think we
is,
covered like so many areas.
can you come again?
I think we covered so many areas.
Yes, you see, I said this that even as you are answering the questions, you'll be covering a lot of areas that we
Yeah.
anyway. So now we want to open the floor for our audience. Please, 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 if you have any questions, you can just raise your hand, and then we can invite you to unmute your microphones, and then Jasmine is here to answer all your questions. So we are taking in questions now. Um, any questions for us, Rosa, Valerie, um, Moses, Samuel, Emmanuel, Timothy? Any questions for us, Josh?
Or if you have any thoughts of yours on team or some cool way a team can work, like please share it with me. Let me know.
Okay. Funny enough, personally, I'm used to working alone. You know, I'm used to um I can get things done by myself. If I don't understand, I'll read. I mean, if if I'm not so good or if I'm not too okay, I ask for help. But working in a team is something that is new to me, especially this year. I've had quite a lot of challenges. I have, I've had fights with team members. I've had I've had the chance to lead a team on a project. Okay, and then there are times where some people say there's no communication and all that. So I'm still trying to navigate my way through the conflict management and trying to get people to get work done. I quite remember there was one time where um, there's this particular guy I'm working, and I mean, he's he felt like he was not ready to be on the project, and then they added him to the project impromptu, and his attitude, like trying to draw the team back and all
Oh,
that. Yes, it's been very difficult on me and trying to deal with such a person. And so I don't know how I'm going to get through it, but I quite remember quite recently, it got very frustrating. And then he passed the comments. He said, "It is your project, it's not my project." And so I was wondering, why would you personalize a project to somebody when we are all here to work? I wasn't the one who came to shove the project down your nose or your neck.
yeah,
Exactly. And so I mean, I stood up to him and I told him that, look, we have all been assigned to a project. And so if you feel like you are not ready to bring in your A game for us to get results, then I suggest you go and see the superiors so that they do something
yeah,
about it, because I'm not going to deal with this
right,
energy. Yes, exactly. At some point I felt bad, but I felt like it was getting too much for me having to deal with him. Like, we are here to get the work done. I'm not here to baby you to get the work
yeah,
done because I need your expertise on something, or your expertise on a certain part of the project which I don't have. That is why you have been brought in. But if that's
hmm,
going to be a struggle and going to sit on my mental health, then I'm not going to take it.
yeah.
So yes, that's one of my most recent experience. So
But
I'm still
that's
trying to
the biggest
navigate.
challenge of leading a team.
Mm,
It's a lot about either you care for people or you cut off from them. It's
mm,
a lot of that, and like just that one statement that he told you that this is your project, right? It's not mine.
yes, yes,
He's not familiarized with the shared goal.
yeah.
So he's not seeing this goal as one goal that Pearl and I and maybe many others are doing it.
Yeah.
If just the superior, the management can sit down with him and explain the shared goal. Like it's not Pearl's project, it's also your project. Why? Like this is what
Yeah.
you're going to gain from the
Yeah.
project, right? Everybody
Yeah.
gains something. Either it's monetary, either it's better skills, right? But a lot of time there's this dilemma, right? Like leaders really try to care for their people, but at times it's also about cutting off certain people. It's like a balancing game.
Well, now that I have you,
Yeah. So
if I
now,
have
like,
any
what is he
challenges, I'll
talking
run
to
to
the
you.
senior management, or is he
Yeah.
still under you? What is it?
Um. Hmm. So as it stands, the project was on hold for some time because we're
Okay.
all busy with other things, and so, funny enough, at that point I had peace because I didn't have to deal with him in particular. But now the scare also came in, where now I have to deal with him. He's going to he's like, the fact that I'm going to have to deal with a difficult person. That's what I didn't like. But I mean, I'm trying to get used to him, and I don't know. I think I'll get a hang of it. I just have to figure out who he is. Um, now that you have said,
Yeah.
try to figure
Talk
out
to him a
whether it's
little
a
about
move
his,
or.
yeah, extracurriculars. Like just trying to get to know a little non-work side of him. Okay.
Okay.
Try that technique.
Okay.
He might be into sports. He might be into reading something. Try to get that aspect of him also.
You
You
know,
might get a chance.
the funny part about this whole situation with him is because we used to gel. I mean, we
Oh,
used to talk like during lunch break, and I quite remember we even went for a wedding, like a mutual friend's wedding together, and all that. Like we
oh.
used to be very close, and so now that the project came in, I don't know where this whole attitude was coming from. So I mean, till date, it still catches me by surprise, but I mean, we move. Yeah. So.
Ask him, is there something occupying your mind space a lot right now? Like, just ask
Mm,
him.
okay.
See what he answers. Is something occupying your mind space a lot right now? Is something, are you concerned or worried about something? Um, have you lost motivation? I'm just tell him it's one to one. I'm
Yeah.
asking you on a one to one level. I'm not going to announce it to anyone, but
Yeah.
sometimes people do lose motivation.
Mm,
Sometimes there can be phases, man. We don't know in someone's life something is occupying their mind a little at a next
yeah.
level. Uh,
Okay. I think I'll try that and then do give you some feedback on that.
yeah, speak to him. Tell him let's
Yeah.
get in a safe like zone where we'll have safe,
Mm,
open conversations. Okay.
mm.
And let me know. Let me know how it goes.
Okay. I will. I think our
With that
audience will
social
be will
leader,
be
yeah,
will
now that
be
you're a
interested
leader,
in also knowing how it goes. So I'm sure we would have to do a part two to see how it's going.
it's going to become a web show. We'll get that guy also in because yeah, now it's a whole drama series that's unfolding.
Someone is asking
Oh,
for
people
part
are
two.
ordering like part two. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
For everybody
So
else,
so
it's really entertaining
so
all
now
this. Yeah.
I'm the guinea pig for this experiment that has been taken in faith.
Yeah, we should try. Like let's see what
Mm,
happens.
okay. I'll try that.
Yeah,
I'll try
yeah.
that, and then we'll do a part two, and then we'll see how it's going.
But no, on a serious note, try to
Mm,
have a conversation with
okay.
him. Ask him maybe there's something. At least give him a chance. Maybe there's something bothering him. Ask him.
Mm,
Maybe he's lost
okay.
motivation.
Okay. I'll try that. Eh, any more questions? Any more? Any contributions? We have quite a number of experienced people here, especially when it
I
comes
would
to
love to hear
leadership.
their
I have
yeah.
Timothy, he's an entrepreneur. He's a CEO on his own, and
Wow.
I don't know if he's in the right space to talk on managing it. Hi, team. Okay, so that
Hi,
okay.
Pearl. Hi.
Yes.
Sorry. I was driving while talking, so
Oh,
yeah, so that's
okay.
why I couldn't talk. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Makes
But I've
sense.
been listening to the talk, and it's an amazing talk. And
Mm,
like you said, teamwork is everything. You're
mm,
talking about working solo for so long, and I also did the same for a while. But okay, I'll use an example. For
okay.
instance, since we are a very religious country, and
Mm,
in the very first stages of the Bible, you heard a talk by God that said, "Let us create man in our own image." I think that
mm,
was the beginning of talking about teamwork.
yeah.
Yes. So to be able to create something of meaning, you would need more than one person to be able to do that. You need a collective mind. A lot of people who think
Mm,
in the same.
mm,
Yes, and then I think that's what teamwork is about: building a family or something like that that can realize a vision or bring a vision to life. Teamwork is very important. There'll be, of course, there'll be
mm.
ups and downs, there'll be battles. It's because you are mainly dealing with human beings, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that that cannot be resolved. Yes. So teamwork is really important, and that's
Mm.
my contribution.
All right.
So,
Thank you
Jasmine,
so much.
very great
Very nice.
hearing from you. It's been an amazing talk.
Thank you. Likewise, you said it right? It's just like any other relationship. You will have conflicts, but at the end, it's about having that group mind, that collective mind.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, team, for your
Thanks,
contributions.
Tim.
Thank you.
Okay. So I am seeing some comments here from Samuel saying that thank you, Jasmine, for the insightful session on teamwork. It's truly enlightening. Pearl, we deeply appreciate your efforts in organizing this event. Building on what we've learned, how do you think our team would perform if there were no designated leader? Or are we simply tasked with achieving a goal together? Oh, okay. So if I get your question right, you are asking how do you think our team would perform if there were no designated leader? You are just supposed to work together to achieve a goal. Jasmine, so in a situation like this where you don't have a leader, I mean, you are just supposed to work collectively. How do we handle such a situation?
So Samuel, I think it's just about a readiness where everyone's like, okay, now we're going from me to we. It's that collaboration, and something like this. There's actually one experiment done. It's called the Marshmallow Challenge. Okay, where two groups were taken. One was a group of business school graduates from the top business universities, and one was a group of kids. Okay, they were kindergarten kids, and each of them was said that build a tower out of a marshmallow, spaghetti, string, and tape. Build a tower, and let's see who builds the tallest tower. No one is the leader. This is one team. This is one team. And you know who built the tallest tower? It was the kids. It wasn't the business school adults, the graduates, because what was happening between the business school students, they were more in a status game. Like, how do we show everybody else in the team that we are the smartest, that we're the most intelligent? Um, and if someone gives some suggestion, can I critique it? So they were thinking all these things, whereas the kids were just focusing on the task, which is how do we build this tower? Like, the marshmallow is really heavy for the spaghetti. How will it hold the spaghetti? So all of the problems that came were business problems, but for the other group, it was people problems, right? So just if there's no leader, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure you firstly are ready to go from the me to the we, okay, and inspire others in your team also to do that, because once you are ready to go from me to we, you just focus on the project, the goal in hand. It wouldn't be status games. It wouldn't be like, oh, how do I prove to everyone that I'm the smartest person in the room, or I know more than everybody, right? Because then it gets in the whole messy zone. So a team will perform great if there is no leader. Why not? As long as there is readiness to, um, go from me to we. Why not?
You have said it all, and I think when when we know that there's no leader, I mean, I know that okay, now it's just us. Um, what now we would leverage on is um, finding the strengths and then the weaknesses within ourselves. So let's say if I know um, Jasmine is good with, let's say it's a final year project, okay, and let's say Jasmine is good with critical thinking, analysis, that's fine. And then there's Hell, that is good with writing or putting reports together. And then there's you, that is good at designing and all those things. I mean, now you should leverage on the strengths and weaknesses of everybody in the team and tell them and make everybody feel like, okay, this is your part, this is what you are good at, let's bring out the
Exactly.
results. Yeah, yeah, results oriented, not showing who is the smartest, but you just want to
Yeah.
get the work done and then wash your hands off it. So, I mean, for me, that's the approach I work with.
Right.
Yes. What's happening now is most of our like our managers are like wash their hands off the project, but now we have to be like, okay, who is good with this, push it to the person, who is
Yeah.
good with this, push it to the person. Now, okay, now bring in results and then we get the work done, we go and deliver, and then comments that come back, we push it back.
Right.
So that's the approach I go by. And then taking tips from what Jasmine who has also said to would also help in this kind of situation. So yes. If there are any more questions, okay. We are Jasmine is almost it's almost midnight, or it's midnight.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 minutes for it to hit 12 o'clock.
Okay. Okay, so now if there are no questions, then we would allow Jasmine to go and have a good night's sleep.
And we'll be meeting for part two of the
Yes,
web
yes,
series.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
With me as your guinea
But
pig, no problem.
yeah. No, but I hope no, I truly hope it resolves.
Mm,
Um, it is challenging, but that's part of being a team leader.
yeah.
It's a part of it.
Okay.
But thank you
Samuel, I
so
hope
much
we answered your
for
question. If you are
yeah.
fine, if you are okay, just give us a thumbs up. Then we wrap up. Okay, great. Um, if there are no more questions, would like to say thank you to Jasmine. Yay. Okay. So would like to
Thank
say
you
thank
so
you
much
so
to
much.
you, Pearl,
Yes.
for
Personally,
organizing this, bringing us together. And I really enjoyed myself, and I hope all of you also did enjoy hearing.
okay, so personally I did enjoy myself. I learned a lot, and for the first time I'm showing my face. That's a new experience. Yes. I've really learned a lot, in most of my key takeaways are communication, and then trying to get to know the people you are working with. Um, yes, and just leveraging on strengths and weaknesses of your team to get the results done. Yes, so thank you so much for this. We
Thank
really
you so
appreciate.
much to you, Pearl, and to everybody else.
Yes, and for everyone that joined in, your participation and your comments, your questions, keep us going. It makes me feel like yes, I'm doing a good job. Um, what I'm going to do after this is that I'm going to upload the video online. I would encourage that you share. I mean, this has so many great insights. You share, you share, you share. Not for me, but to help others. My
Yeah,
YouTube page is now growing, but that's not the aim. The aim is to help people answer questions that they've wanted answers to, and then to make an impact. So it's not about the numbers for me, but it's for the impact. So share with someone you think would need this webinar or will need this video. Yes. And thank you so much for joining. I think I've had some people who have been constantly joining, like Team Rosa and Josh. They have been very consistent. Thank you so much for your consistency and thank you so much for sharing. So on those notes, we'll take leave and then we'll see you next month. So thank you
Thank
everyone.
you so much, everybody. Thank you, Paul. There were a lot of things you all also shared, and I learned. So I like that. And it's a Sunday there, so yes, enjoy your Sundays.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a lovely
Thank you so
evening to
much. It
Jocelyn.
was amazing being on your podcast.
Yes, don't worry, there'll be a part two as I'm the guinea pig.
But good luck for that. Yes, and we'll meet
All
soon.
right, so
Okay.
I'll sure give you some feedback on this,
Of
and
course,
then
yes, yes.
yes, and keep the
We'll
audience to updated. So yeah. All right, thank
All
you.
right. Take
Good
care. Thanks,
night.
Paul. Bye, everybody. Bye
Bye,
bye.
bye everyone.
Bye. Wish you a Merry Christmas. All right.
Oh yes, wish you
Merry Christmas
a Merry
and yes,
Christmas.
Happy New
How did I
Year
forget
also in
about this?
advance.
I think maybe because I'm working, so like it just hasn't ticked that we are in the Christmas season.
Remember to
All
wish
right.
your team for like Christmas. All
All right. Bye,
right.
everyone.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.